Sweet revenge, the spotless stain, the scent of cheap, cherry-scented soap, hot rubber, and the metallic tang of damp concrete filled Leon's nostrils as the black Escalade, gleaming like a malevolent obsidian beetle under the fluorescent lights, rolled onto Bay 3. Right on time. Wednesday, 3:45 p.m., like clockwork fueled by arrogance. Leon tightened his grip on the high-pressure hose, the worn handle digging into his palm. Water sluiced over the massive SUV, beading instantly on the freshly waxed surface. Too perfect, just like its owner, Carter Thorne. The name itself tasted like something expensive and soured in Leon's mouth. Thorne didn't see Leon, the wiry man in the faded blue coveralls slick with water and grime. He saw a necessary appliance, a human squeegee. Leon watched the tinted window roll down, revealing a sliver of Thorne's profile. Sharp jawline, expensive sunglasses perched high on his nose, the glint of a platinum watch catching the light. Full detail, inside and out. "Spotless, like always," Thorne commanded, his voice a bored monotone that didn't invite a response, merely expected obedience. He didn't look at Leon. His gaze was fixed somewhere beyond the grimy windows of the Shine Sparkle car wash, probably on his next acquisition or conquest. "Yes, sir," Leon rasped, the words scraping his throat. He kept his head down, focusing on the powerful jet of water blasting road salt from the Escalade's undercarriage. The roar of the machinery drowned out the pounding of his own heart, a drumbeat that had started the day Thorne had casually, carelessly shattered Leon's world 8 months ago. It hadn't been an accident. That was the poison that kept Leon awake, staring at the water-stained ceiling of his cramped studio apartment above a laundromat. Thorne, leaving some exclusive downtown club, drunk on power and expensive scotch, had decided Leon's wife, Maya, walking home from her late shift at the diner, looked like she needed a compliment. When her polite refusal turned to fear, then to a sharp rebuff, Thorne's ego couldn't take it. He shoved her, hard, into the path of a turning delivery van. Maya survived, but the vibrant artist who danced while washing dishes, who saw beauty in cracked pavement and fading sunsets, was gone, replaced by a woman trapped in a broken body and a mind fractured by chronic pain and PTSD. The light in her hazel eyes, the light that had drawn Leon across a crowded bus stop 10 years prior, was extinguished. Her hands, once capable of creating breathtaking paintings, now struggled to hold a spoon steadily. And the medical bills? They were a monstrous, ever-growing shadow, swallowing Leon whole. Thorne? He'd walked away, literally, called his lawyer from the scene. Witnesses were hazy. Thorne claimed Maya stumbled. His expensive lawyer made the charges evaporate like soap bubbles. A nuisance settlement was offered, barely covering the first month's hospital stay, and accepted by Maya's overwhelmed family, desperate for any help. Thorne never apologized, never acknowledged her existence again. He just kept rolling into Shine Sparkle every Wednesday and Saturday, demanding perfection, leaving a crisp $50 bill that felt like blood money in Leon's pocket. Leon finished the rinse cycle. The Escalade shimmered, a dark mirror reflecting the harsh lights and Leon's own gaunt face. Hatred, cold and precise, had settled deep in his bones. He wasn't a violent man. He didn't own a gun, couldn't throw a punch worth a damn. But he knew cars. He knew Thorne's obsession with his precious vehicles, and he knew how to be invisible. Revenge wasn't about a quick explosion. It was about erosion, a slow, meticulous dismantling, a spotless stain that Thorne wouldn't see until it was too late. Phase 1. The irritant. It started small, insignificant. Thorne demanded perfection? Leon would deliver. Almost. One Wednesday, After the meticulous interior clean, Thorne slid into the driver's seat. His hand brushed against the gear shift. His fingers came away sticky. Barely noticeable, just a faint residue of the sugary cola Leon had surreptitiously wiped onto the leather. Thorne frowned, wiped his hand on a pristine white handkerchief, muttered something under his breath, and drove off. Leon watched him go, a ghost of a smile touching his lips. The tiniest flaw in Thorne's perfect world. Next visit, Leon carefully loosened the cap on the windshield washer fluid reservoir just a fraction. Not enough to leak noticeably, but enough to let air in. Thorne, driving onto the highway later, hit the washers. Instead of a clean spray, a pathetic sputter, then nothing. He'd have to pull over, touch the grimy reservoir cap himself. Leon imagined the look of disgust on his face. Good. Then came the air freshener. Thorne insisted on a specific, expensive brand. Ocean Breeze. Leon acquired an identical-looking one, but filled it with a cheap, cloying scent, reminiscent of decaying fruit and cheap perfume. He swapped it into the vent clip. Thorne spent the next week driving around in his 100,000 status symbol, assaulted by the smell of a dollar store dumpster. He ripped it out, furious, demanding a new one. Leon handed him a genuine one, face impassive. Must have been a bad batch, sir. Each tiny victory was a balm on Leon's raw fury. He documented them in a cheap notebook hidden beneath his mattress. Sticky gear shift, washer fluid sputter, rotten air freshener. He looked apoplectic. Phase 2, the undermining. Leon needed leverage, information. He started listening, truly listening, not just to Thorne's commands, but to his phone calls. Thorne often took calls while waiting, his booming voice carrying over the whine of the dryers, oblivious to the silent man vacuuming his floor mats. Told Henderson the zoning variance is non-negotiable. Squeeze him harder. The wife suspects nothing. Weekend in Aspen. Monica understands discretion. That environmental report? Bury it deeper. Worth millions. Thorne was a real estate developer. Ruthless. Cutthroat. Probably corrupt. Leon stored every nugget. He noted names. Henderson, Monica. He noted projects. Harborview luxury condos. Riverside revitalization. He started using the library computers during his lunch break, researching Thorne properties. Permits, fines, news articles. A picture emerged of a man skating on very thin ethical ice, protected by money and connections. One Saturday, Thorne was particularly agitated, barking into his phone about that damn reporter sniffing around the Riverside site. OSHA violations are a joke. Just needs to disappear. Leon, polishing a tire rim, froze. OSHA violations. Disappear. He committed the reporter's name, Sarah Chen, to memory. That night, Leon created an anonymous email account. From a public terminal miles from his home, he sent a brief, factual email to Sarah Chen's publicly listed work address, mentioning Thorne properties, the Riverside site, and potential OSHA violations buried under pressure. He included no specifics, no proof yet, just a nudge, a seed of doubt. Weeks later, a small article appeared in the local paper's business section. Questions raised about safety at Riverside Development. Thorne stormed into the car wash the following Wednesday, face thunderous, ranting about ambulance-chasing hacks to his lawyer on the phone. Leon felt a surge of dark satisfaction, the first ripple in Thorne's carefully still pond. Phase 3, the personal touch. Thorne's vanity was his armor. Leon decided to chip at it directly. Thorne kept a small framed photo of himself receiving some Businessman of the Year award on the Escalade's dash. Leon hated that smug face. One Wednesday, while meticulously cleaning the interior, Leon carefully removed the photo. At home, using skills Maya had once playfully taught him for altering thrift store art, he created a subtle duplicate. He scanned the original, then digitally altered it. He didn't change Thorne's face. Instead, he meticulously edited the background. The prestigious City Hall rotunda, where the award was given, replaced with a perfectly blended image of the entrance to a well-known, slightly seedy gentleman's club downtown. The plaque in his hands? The inscription now read, "Bootylicious VIP, Customer of the Month." The alterations were seamless, requiring close inspection to spot. Leon printed it on identical photo paper, bought an identical frame, and swapped it back into the Escalade the next cleaning. Thorne didn't notice immediately, but Leon saw the moment he did. Thorne was buckling his seatbelt, glanced at the photo, did a double take so violent Leon thought he might get whiplash. His face flushed crimson, then turned ashen. He grabbed the frame, staring at it, disbelief turning to fury. He looked around wildly, as if expecting the perpetrator to be standing there laughing. His eyes swept over Leon, vacuuming nearby. Utter dismissal. It couldn't be the car wash guy. Thorne ripped the photo from the frame, crumpled it savagely, and threw it onto the passenger seat. He sped off, tires squealing. Leon watched him go, the crumpled ball of paper like a tiny, wounded ego left behind. He retrieved it later, smoothing it out. A trophy. The photo incident made Thorne paranoid. He started inspecting the car minutely before leaving. Leon adapted. The sabotage became more insidious, harder to trace. A single, tiny pebble meticulously glued deep inside the hollow of the driver's side door panel. Just enough to create an intermittent, maddening rattle on rough roads. Thorne brought the Escalade back twice, demanding the mechanics find the noise. They couldn't. It was a ghost rattle, a minuscule dab of superglue on the seatbelt receptacle. Not enough to jam it completely, just enough to make the latch occasionally stick, forcing Thorne to fumble angrily. He blamed the mechanism, demanded it be replaced. Leon replaced it. The problem, mysteriously, persisted. A carefully calibrated adjustment to the tire pressure sensors, making them chronically inaccurate. Thorne was constantly getting false low-pressure warnings. He accused the car wash of messing with his tires. Leon just shrugged, looking bewildered. "Computer glitch, maybe, sir? These new cars." Each incident chipped away at Thorne's carefully cultivated image of effortless control. He became visibly more irritable, snapping at his phone calls, his jaw perpetually clenched. Leon fed off the frustration like a starving man. Phase 4. Leverage and the catalyst. Leon's anonymous tips to Sarah Chen became more frequent and detailed. He never revealed his identity, always using throwaway accounts and public Wi-Fi. He sent her public records of rushed permits, links to complaints from displaced residents near Thorne's Harbor View project, even the name Monica and the mention of Aspen. He was careful, only sending information that could plausibly have been found through diligent research, nothing that directly implicated him. Sarah Chen was good. Her articles grew more probing. Thorne Properties faces, scrutiny over Harbor View evictions. Mystery donor behind Riverside zoning change? The pressure was mounting. Thorne's visits to the car wash became less frequent, his phone calls more frantic, laced with threats to lawyers and city officials. Then came the day Leon overheard the crucial piece. Thorne was practically shouting into his phone, pacing outside the Escalade while Leon worked on the wheels. "Absolutely not. That money is untraceable for a reason. It came from the Caymans through the shell company, just like the others. If Chen digs into Phoenix Holdings, we're finished. Make her back off, whatever it takes. Phoenix Holdings, Caymans, shell company. Leon's heart hammered against his ribs. This wasn't just shady business. This sounded like money laundering. Real, prosecutable crime. He also heard the threat. Whatever it takes. The image of Maya, broken and afraid, flashed before his eyes. Sarah Chen didn't deserve Thorne's brand of problem-solving. Leon acted fast. He sent one final urgent anonymous email to Sarah Chen, detailing the overheard conversation verbatim. Caymans, Phoenix Holdings, shell company, untraceable money, whatever it takes. He warned her to be careful, that Thorne was desperate. He included the date and approximate time of the call. Then he took a bigger risk. He mailed a physical letter, typed on a library computer, and printed on plain paper, postmarked from a distant city, to the assistant district attorney whose name he'd found handling white-collar crime investigations. The letter contained the same information as the email to Chen, phrased as a concerned citizen's tip, and mentioned the reporter might be in danger. He signed it, a witness to corruption. The net was tightening, but Leon knew Thorne wouldn't go down without a fight. He needed insurance. He needed something personal, something that would hurt Thorne where he truly lived, in his vanity and his carefully constructed facade. He remembered Monica, the discretion. Leon spent weeks tailing Thorne after work, a risky endeavor on his beat-up moped, staying far back. He discovered Monica, a stunning, much younger woman, and the sleek downtown apartment Thorne visited several evenings a week. He also observed Mrs. Thorne, Eleanor, a regal, sharp-eyed woman involved in high society charities. She radiated an aura of knowing tolerance, but Leon suspected her patience had limits. Leon hatched his most audacious plan yet. It involved timing, precision, and a significant chunk of his meager savings. Phase 5. Sweet Release. The annual Thorne Properties Charity Gala was the event of the season. Black tie, obscenely wealthy, covered breathlessly by the society pages. Eleanor Thorne's pet project. Leon knew Carter Thorne would be there, preening the benevolent king. Monica, he discovered through discreet observation of her social media, publicly accessible photos tagged at exclusive places, would be attending a girls' weekend in Napa. The coast was clear. Leon's plan was simple, cruel, and relied on technology Thorne himself would appreciate. He purchased a small, powerful Bluetooth speaker and a cheap, prepaid phone. He spent hours painstakingly editing audio recordings. Not of Thorne's phone calls. Those were too risky to capture clearly. Instead, he used snippets of Thorne's voice captured at the car wash. His commands, spotless. His rants about reporters and competitors, his dismissive tone. Using sophisticated audio editing software accessed on a library computer, Leon stitched together a short, damning script. He modulated Thorne's voice slightly, making it sound drunker, more arrogant, more cruel. The script was short, designed for maximum impact. Thorne's voice slightly slurred. This gala, circus for the peasants, Eleanor prattling on about orphans, bore me to tears, money's all that matters, screw the charities, screw the little people, like that idiot at the car wash, or that wife. What was her name? Maya? Shouldn't have been in my way. Worthless, all of them. Just pawns. My money buys silence, buys whatever I want. Monica understands. Worth every penny. It was a Frankenstein monster of Thorne's own words and sentiments, twisted into a monstrous confession. Leon loaded the audio file onto the prepaid phone and synced it to the speaker. The night of the gala, Leon, dressed in a borrowed delivery driver's uniform, acquired from a friend for a case of beer, approached the Grand Hotel ballroom. Security was tight at the entrance, but deliveries used a side entrance near the kitchens. He timed it perfectly, blending with a group of actual caterers bringing in extra ice. Inside the bustling service corridor, he found a service closet near the main ballroom doors. He taped the small, powerful speaker high up inside an air vent facing the ballroom, ensuring the sound would carry, but the source would be hard to locate immediately. He set the phone to play the audio file on a timer, precisely during Thorne's scheduled self-congratulatory speech, triggered by a text message from another burner phone he'd leave blocks away. He slipped out as quietly as he'd slipped in, heart pounding like a jackhammer, but his hands steady. Leon didn't witness it firsthand. He was miles away, sitting with Maya in their dim apartment, holding her good hand as they watched a mindless game show. But he could imagine it with crystal clarity. Carter Thorne, resplendent in his tuxedo, basking in the spotlight at the podium, clearing his throat to deliver his carefully crafted speech about community and philanthropy. The rustle of expensive gowns and the clink of crystal glasses falling silent. Then, cutting through the expectant hush, his own voice, dripping with contempt and cruelty, boomed from the vents. This gala, circus for the peasants. The gasp from the crowd would have been audible blocks away. Thorne's face frozen in horror, microphone forgotten. Eleanor Thorne's expression turning from polite attention to glacial fury. The shocked murmurs rising to a horrified crescendo as the recording continued, mentioning Maya, Monica, buying silence. Worthless. Pawns. My money buys whatever I want. By the time the short, vile message ended, the ballroom would be in chaos. Society reporters scrambling, smartphones recording. Eleanor Thorne, pale but composed, would likely step forward, her voice cutting through the din with icy precision, demanding an explanation Carter Thorne couldn't possibly give. The facade, meticulously maintained for decades, shattered in under a minute. The fallout. The next morning, the scandal dominated the news, not just the local paper, but regional networks and online gossip sites. Real estate tycoon's vile rant exposed at charity gala. Thorne implicated in cover-up harassment. The audio clip went viral. Sarah Chen's investigative pieces, suddenly bolstered by public outrage and the DA's office, tipped off and now actively investigating Phoenix Holdings and the Cayman Connection, gained massive traction. Thorne's world imploded. Eleanor filed for divorce immediately, publicly stating she was appalled and heartbroken, ensuring she took a significant chunk of his assets and social standing with her. Monica vanished, likely paid off handsomely for her silence, but her existence fueled the scandal. Clients fled. Banks froze lines of credit. The OSHA investigation at the Riverside site uncovered serious willful violations, leading to hefty fines and work stoppages. The DA's investigation into financial irregularities gained momentum, fueled by the public audio and Sarah Chen's dogged reporting. Thorne was indicted within 2 months on multiple counts: fraud, money laundering, conspiracy, and, thanks to Leon's anonymous testimony, about the night Maya was hurt and the subsequent cover-up, delivered through a carefully arranged, untraceable channel to the DA, felony assault and witness intimidation. His expensive lawyers fought, but the evidence, amplified by public hatred, was overwhelming. Leon watched it unfold from a distance. He saw Thorne's picture on the news, haggard and handcuffed, stripped of his expensive suits and sunglasses, being led into court. The arrogance was gone. replaced by a hollow-eyed disbelief. The Escalade was repossessed. The shine sparkle saw him no more. The Wednesday after Thorne's arrest, a different black SUV rolled into Bay 3. A woman got out, sharp-eyed and elegant despite simple clothes. Eleanor Thorne. She handed Leon a set of keys. A full detail, please. Inside and out. It belonged to him. I need it spotless before it goes to auction. Her voice was cool, but there was a flicker of something in her eyes. Understanding, perhaps, or grim satisfaction. Leon took the keys. Yes, ma'am. As he sprayed down the vehicle, washing away the last physical trace of Carter Thorne, he felt a profound quiet settle over him. The roaring hatred was gone, replaced by a deep, weary calm. It wasn't joy. It was closure. A debt paid in full, not with violence, but with meticulous, patient erosion. Later that evening, he sat with Maya on their small fire escape, sharing a container of cheap takeout noodles. The city lights sprawled below them. Maya, her movements still slow and careful, pointed at a streak of vibrant orange painting, the horizon between two buildings. Look, Leo, she whispered, a hint of the old wonder creeping back into her voice. Like fire. Leon squeezed her hand gently, the hand that still trembled sometimes. He looked at the sunset, then back at her face, catching a fleeting glimpse of the light he thought was lost. It wasn't the same. Maybe it never would be. But it was there, a fragile ember, but burning. The revenge was complete. It hadn't healed Maya. It hadn't erased the pain or the debt. But it had restored a sliver of balance. Carter Thorne was finally facing consequences. And Leon? He was finally free. Free of the all-consuming hatred. Free to focus on the slow, patient work of helping Maya find her way back to the light. One sunset at a time. The sweetest revenge, he realized, wasn't just the downfall of the wicked. It was the quiet reclaiming of his own life, his own peace, beside the woman he loved. The spotless stain on Thorne's life was permanent. Leon's own world, scarred but clean, was just beginning to breathe again. He took a bite of the noodles, the simple flavor suddenly rich and satisfying. The future was uncertain, daunting, but it was theirs. And for now, watching the colors bleed across the sky with Maya's hand in his, that was enough. It was more than he dared hope for. It was finally sweet.